Hi guys, it's Sarah. I'm doing another, some more responses to a new AMA I posted on CS Majors. Okay, so I'm going to read through the questions and give answers. The reason I record this as a video is that it's easier for me to go in detail without spending a ton of time typing out long responses. So I hope you guys understand. Awesome. Okay, so I'm outside in a AMG asked, can I get an idea of what was on your resume before your first internship? What did you do to make Google/Microsoft pick you up in the first place? Thanks for doing this. Yeah. So I was actually looking for a copy of my old resume. I went to my Microsoft career portal site because I've seen my old resume on there in the past. I don't actually have a hard copy of it anymore because I usually just keep my resume on a Google Doc and update it as I have more skills and experiences. Unfortunately, it was not there anymore, but I did see a few of the jobs I had listed on that first resume still on my career portal, so I'll go ahead and show those to you. So when I applied to my first software internship, I was applying to the Microsoft Explorer program. At that time, I had already interned at Boeing within an engineering department. That was a weird situation because my first year in college, I was an international business major, and I got an internship at Boeing. Went to Boeing, and while I was there, realized that I didn't actually want to be in business, and engineering looked pretty interesting to me. I'd never actually considered it before because in high school I was terrible at math and never really applied myself. So anytime I considered engineering in the past, I just sort of assumed that I was too stupid, honestly, to be a good engineer, so I didn't even try. During that internship, I just had some great managers who encouraged me to move to an engineering team and made that exception because that was not normal to allow a student who wasn't studying engineering to be on an engineering team. So I ended up as a program manager on a software team at Boeing. Now, I didn't know anything about code at the time, so I really wasn't much help, but I got to watch a lot of developers create stuff and learn more about development and realize that it actually looked very interesting, and I thought it was something I might be interested in studying. So when I went back to school, I actually switched my major to computer science. So I had some amazing managers at Boeing, specifically a manager named Brent, and then my engineering manager who I got transferred to named Norm. They were really great people, really helped me discover my love for CS. But while I was in Seattle working at Boeing, once I realized I wanted to change my major to CS, I started looking at what resources were in that area because I knew that Seattle was a big tech hub that I could use to learn more about software. And I actually had already heard at that time about the Microsoft Explorer program, which is a first year internship or second year, or it's an internship for first or second year CS students. So even though I was going into my sophomore year in college, I had just started CS, and business classes don't transfer over very well to an engineering degree. So I was almost basically starting over. Anyway, while I was there, I decided I wanted to take advantage of any resources Seattle had to offer. And I found a hackathon that was being hosted by a company called Angel Hack in Seattle. It was a few weekends away. I signed up for it. I went to the hackathon, didn't know anything about coding at that point, but found a few other people there who didn't have a team. We created a team, and the next thing I know, we ended up winning first place in the hackathon. So I will say I didn't contribute to any of the code written in that hackathon. I actually sort of took a lead over the business side and came up with our idea, came up with the pitched it to the judges and everything. And meanwhile, my amazing team members were the ones actually coding and creating an app and stuff. So I learned a lot about software development throughout that process by watching my teammates. I didn't really do a lot as far as actually developing any software, though. I just dealt with the legal and business side of stuff. We were not expecting to win first place at the hackathon. There was probably at least 100 people there, maybe 40 teams or more. So when we won first place, we were really surprised. And part of winning first place was, aside from a cash reward award, we also got placed into an incubation program for our company, along with Angel Hack had several hackathons around the globe. Also, they're still doing hackathons. I would encourage anyone who's trying to find projects to pad their resume to go ahead and just Google like local hackathons, because you can work on something for like a day or two. You can learn a lot, especially about technologies you've never used before. And the end result is you probably will have at least a small product because you're working with several other people, like very hard on creating an app or a website or something like that for a few days. And that's a great thing to put on your resume for entry-level software internships. Anyway, we ended up winning like award after award after award, and a year later, we were actually offered a seed round to start our idea. But after considering the like potential of the idea and like where our team was currently at, a lot of the people involved in our team had full-time jobs or had just graduated, and taking the investment we were offered would have meant moving to another country to be underneath the supervision of the company investing in us, which was an amazing opportunity, but at the same time meant that the people on our team would have had to leave their current jobs, and that was a risk that they just weren't comfortable with. I personally thought that the company had a lot of potential and could really go somewhere, but that's not what happened, so that's okay. It was a great experience, helped me learn a lot about technology and communicating with other engineers and things like that, and just made me very positive that I did want to go ahead and go into CS. And I think it was a huge part of the reason that I got an interview at Microsoft for the Explorer program. And that's something I definitely talked about in my interviews. So I realized that that's probably a unique experience, and a lot of you might not have that type of experience yet, but I would not be discouraged by that. If anything, I would just say, like, you don't have to have any coding experience yet to go out and join something like a hackathon and learn something and help contribute to a project, which you can then list on your resume. So some other things I had listed on my resume at that time, I had just finished my first Java class, so I put projects that I had worked on in that Java class. They were very simple, like graphical user interface Java programs, but one was like creating a user interface panel where they could control a Parrot AR drone through sending signals to the drone depending on which button was pushed, like going up in the air, going down, hovering, things like that. And then I created a Minesweeper game for that Java class as well, using the basic Java GUI. So they don't have to be big projects, but if you've done any projects in your classes at all, especially if you don't have any other experience, I would list that. Also, especially for first-year students, if you have any work experience, it does not have to be software or school-related. Go ahead and put that down, just because it demonstrates work ethic, that you can, like, be responsible, you know how to show up for a job even if you don't feel like it, things like that, teamwork, or group projects in other classes. They're looking really, like, the Explorer program is not, let's find genius engineers and recruit them. It's more of, we want to find people who have potential and see if we can help develop their software skills. And they don't expect you to know a lot about software yet. That's the whole point, is they're trying to show you the opportunities in software. They're trying to get you more interested in software and hope that you stay within that major, because there's a huge dropout rate after freshman year. So don't worry too much about your experience yet, at least within software. Just try to demonstrate leadership and responsibility on your resume. Show that you're actually interested in software by adding projects that you've done in class or outside of class. They don't have to be big. And honestly, if you don't have time to go to a hackathon or there aren't any near you, ask a professor if you can work on a project with them. Ask if they have any small projects they would recommend you creating. Or even just Google, like, small Python project. There's things like Python web scrapers that even if you don't know anything about Python yet, there are tutorials that can walk you through the whole process of creating a Python app. From downloading the software you'll need to writing the code and everything. And they're pretty simple, they're not super complicated, and that would be a great resource in my opinion, if you don't have anything to put on your resume. Anyway, hope that helped. Sorry, it was a little bit long-winded, but yeah, I hope that answer was helpful.